Right, well, an update on Jimmy Kimmel and, well, basically, and Disney. So, Disney own ABC, right? It was Bob Iger that personally signed off on Jimmy Kimmel being fired. Mainly because he, wasn't interested in changing his monologue. He was going to double down on the rhetoric that he had said in his last show before, of course, he got cancelled. And so there's now discussions between Jimmy Kimmel and Bob Iger, Disney, about trying to get them back on the air, get Jimmy Kimmel back on the air. But there's just a straight up stalemate. Jimmy Kimmel's demanding certain things, Bob Iger's not happy with it, and the negotiations have stalled. So here's the update. Hit subscribe if you're new here, please, and do turn those bell notifications on. So Jimmy Kimmel, obviously, suddenly taken off the air. What was the cause? I think ultimately what's really important to note is his viewership had been cratering for some time. And so it's not that difficult just to be like, well, there's a good excuse to take you off the air, basically. And so you can see it here. You can see his viewership, right? Not great. Not great. Not great. So Jimmy Kimmel Live, 1 million, and then it just tanking. It started to go downhill. But this is not unique to Jimmy Kimmel either, by the way. This is just late night talk show hosts. It's by and large probably because they became very sort of partisan political in their rhetoric. Very tribal. Rather than just dunking on everyone, they just dunked on Donald Trump. They weren't really dunking on Biden. I mean, God knows there were plenty of opportunities to dunk on Biden, but yeah, wasn't interested in doing that, was he? Or any of them. So I don't think this is a case of them explicitly thinking that it's worthwhile binning Jimmy Kimmel off just because of what he said. I think it's actually because this is a good excuse to bin him off. Right? It's literally just a good excuse to cancel him. So anyway, let's have a look, right? Obviously, lots of people have sort of come out of the woodwork now and it's like, oh, he needs to bring him back or something like that. I think it's also important to note that the FCC actually hasn't done anything. That they haven't done anything. This was just Bob Iger and Disney. So FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, he did blast Kimmel's remarks, warning that broadcasters must operate in the public interest under their license. That's a perfectly reasonable statement to make. Carr's criticism put ABC in a precarious position. If affiliates risk regulatory pressure by airing the program, they have a strong incentive to pull it. Indeed, groups like Nexstar and Sinclair, which control swathes of ABC affiliates nationwide, moved quickly to suspend the show from their lineups. And I think that was the main reason. They suspended it, and Bob Iger was like, whatever. Let's just cancel it. So Variety had some reports on this in terms of the discussions, but they don't have a lot. The information's not good. As in, like, it's not good diagnosis for the converse. So the core problem is Disney doesn't want to bring the show back under the same conditions that caused such a public relations disaster. And Kimmel doesn't want to bow to demands that he sees as censorship. Now, that's all alleged. At the end of the day, I think actually Disney would be smart by, saying, no, we can't bring it under the same conditions because you would lose in viewership. Like, obviously it can't be under the same conditions. Like, you need to make, this has to be worthwhile. These budgets for these late night talk shows are massive. Like, actually massive. Somewhere in the region of like $100 million, which is just stupid. It is actually stupid high. So Disney would be wanting to say, well, yeah, no, we need to change this. We need to get some more editorial oversight of what's being done because we need to get more bang for buck. Like, it actually has to make money. But Kimmel apparently doesn't want to bow to their demands because he sees it as censorship. Now, that may all be the case. Like, Disney might not want to go to Kimmel and just be like, look, mate, your viewership sucks, right? They might still be wanting to use this as a negotiation tactic. And so Kimmel is looking at it probably from the perspective of, well, this is censorship then. So two things can be true. So what are the possible compromises? Sources suggest a few possibilities. Public clarification or apology from Kimmel. You're not going to do that. He reportedly resisted when Bob Iger first pushed for one. Yeah, that's actually what primarily pushed it to be taken off the air, because he was just going to double down. And then stricter oversight of future monologues, ensuring another inflammatory rant doesn't cause affiliates to bolt. But also probably, again, just editorial oversight in general. Possible limits on political commentary, especially when tied to ongoing legal or criminal cases, which I think is perfectly reasonable. I think that's actually fair. I also just think, like, don't be super, super political. Like Jay Leno, for instance. Everyone loves Jay Leno, right? Like, he's wicked. He's great. And, like, I mean, I like him because he's a car enthusiast as well, right? Like, but people liked him. You know, he was liked. He was a likable guy. These new late night talk show guys, they're not likable at all. Apparently none of these options are palatable for either Disney or Kimmel, though. Kimmel's brand has long been built on snarky political digs. Well, yeah, but also going around going, will you have sex with me? The Man Show. You ever watched that? You should go have a look. Terrible. Like, actually terrible show. Disney must obviously balance a corporate image, advertiser interests, and regulatory risk. I mean, like, at the end of the day, if Kimmel's so, like, you know, a hot potato, he can just go on YouTube, can't he? But he won't. And he'd probably get terrible views. And I know you're probably like, well, he is on YouTube. Yeah, no, he's backed currently on YouTube. Like, start his own channel properly, doing all himself. No, people are not going to be interested in what he's got to say. But, you know, unfortunately, staffers don't have any commentary from ABC, writers, producers, crew members. They all have no idea. And that's a shame, right? Like, that is a shame. You got idiots like Pascal, you know, Pedro Pascal coming out and be like, standing with you, Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, just, you want to fillet him, mate. Just keep it to yourself. But again, like I said, I just think it's because he got shit viewership. Basically. Look at this. This is terrible. Like, actually awful. Pretty damn bad. But younger audiences go on YouTube, Rumble, TikTok. And older audiences can't be bothered because it's just being lectured by ideologues. So, no idea what's happening now, but it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forwards. Right now, it's just a stalemate. But there you go. Leave your thoughts down below. Bye now.